Guys, thank you, Benny, as well for joining. How you doing? How's things
Yeah,
been?
I'm very good, thanks. All good.
Yeah, so obviously people probably know Benny's been playing for Birmingham Phoenix in the 100, and Birmingham Phoenix are joint top at the moment, and you've been ripping up in the 100. It seems to be a format that you're really enjoying. How have you found it so far?
It's super fun. No, it's just like it's obviously very similar to a T20, but the way I guess the coverage has been and the way they've set it up, it makes it a lot more entertaining, a lot more um, easier to follow for the sort of cricket fan who's not too familiar with the game itself. And the crowd are getting right behind the home team, especially us at Edgbaston. So no, I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's been I think for cricket fans it's been a little bit of adjustment, like the rule changes and also how it looks on TV, etc. How have you found the rule changes? Like now as a bowler as well, you can bowl 10 straight delivery, so I guess that
Yeah.
equals to 2 overs. How have you found that? Has it been like an exciting change? Has it taken a bit of time to get used to? And are you
Um,
on board with it
yeah.
and enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. Like, there's a few times I bowled 10 in a row, about maybe three different games now, and
Mm,
it just flows better. The game, it's just like a T20 that flows better.
yeah.
I'm surprised about that, and it seems like all the teams and the players have sort of taken to it pretty naturally. There's nothing too different or too dissimilar to a T20, but it's just less stop start um, as as a T20. So I've loved it. Yeah, it's been great. I mean, at times it's nice to get the nod to bowl another five. Obviously, you're doing well, but then obviously they've got a line of you the first five, so sometimes the second set of five can be a bit tougher. But no, it's been good.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I heard people say that obviously now with the new format, it involves new tactics having to be evolved, etc. And I don't know what at the moment. I guess is it more just seeing how bowlers like how you bowl, and then like Moeen will say to you, "Well, okay, Benny, like you bowled really well the first five, like have another five," or is there like matchups and kind of strategy in place beforehand that actually you'll bowl 10 if so and so, or like a left-hander, etc. is on a strike?
Bit of both. I think there's definitely matchups. Definitely there's planned before the game certain matchups, but also you got to go with the flow of the game, and that's up to the captain out there. He's got to get a feel for things and how the pitch is working and how the bowlers are bowling against those batters. And obviously with what bowlers we'd have left and how many overs the other bowlers have left, he's got to work that out. So I think tactics changed hugely, really, because you're getting 10 from each end. And in this comp, there's always been a wicket on a certain side. There's always been a shorter boundary one side. So, 10 balls is a lot. And if you can, I guess, have a good end sort of bowling well, you want to make sure you, I guess, hit your best bowlers at that right end, because 10 balls is a long time. So the tactics change, I reckon, significantly compared to T20.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting, and I don't know if this is true, but it looks like the boundaries are bigger as well. Normally for a T20 they bring in the boundaries, but they don't seem to be brought in as much. Is that the case, or is it just me?
Um, Edgbaston, one side's a bit bigger. There's one side that's quite small. I don't know if it's like 65 meters or something one side.
Hmm.
So, I mean, Manchester was huge. That
Hmm.
was just a bowling paradise for spinners. But where else do we play? We played Southampton. Is always natural. I think it's just naturally a big ground. But
Yeah.
I'm sure if we go to Trent Bridge, the boundaries will be a little bit smaller, and Headingley. But no, they've been definitely smaller than what I'm used to at Bristol. Bigger than what I'm used to at Bristol, which is actually nice to bowl to. So I don't have to worry about someone plinking it for six.
Yeah, exactly. And in your team as well. I mean, there's loads of quality players. I mean, you look at obviously the top at the top, and you've got Finn Allen, who's a really exciting New Zealand prospect, and has also played some incredible knots for New Zealand already in the T20 stuff. Obviously, Moeen Ali is the captain. Liam Livingston's been hitting sixes for fun, and obviously Adam Milne as well. Pat Brown has been really good on the T20 blast, and Imran Tahir, who's a fantastic leg spinner. What's it been like being in that kind of company, and how's it been? Has anyone, I guess, especially the overseas players, been very different in terms of to what you're expecting? Like maybe you thought they were going to be very boisterous, and they're actually a lot more quieter, etc. Or is it just kind of what you expected?
I didn't really expect anything, to be honest. I played in a few franchise tournaments where I played alongside some serious names anyway, so I'm sort of nothing's new. It's nice to get to know Moeen Ali. He's a great guy, and he really loves playing the game, and he's got that. I think he's got a great balance of being relaxed, but also intense when he needs to be. But I think he's a fantastic captain and an awesome player. So that was a really nice game. It was really cool getting to know him. And all the players really. I mean, we've got quite a modest group of players in terms of their personalities. No one's too big for the boots. They just enjoy their cricket. So no, I'm really grateful that I'm part of a team that is like that. And yeah, I think if we can string a couple more wins together and get to at least the knockouts, I think that's due to a good team balance.
Yeah, I agree. And it looks like you guys are definitely on that trajectory as well. I was actually going to ask about Moeen Ali because he's actually one of my favorite players, which a lot of people who watch the channel won't be very even surprised about, because I'm just stuttering my words because I'm so in shell shock and awe of Moeen Ali. That's why. But yeah, people won't be surprised about that at all because I rave about him a lot. And what you mentioned a little bit about him and how he is as a captain, etc. But he comes across to me as someone who I feel like there's different types of captains. There's captains like Kohli, who's very outward, for example. He's quite a good example. He's very outward and very outspoken, and he kind of just wears his heart on his sleeve. Where I feel like Moeen Ali is a bit more measured, kind of similar to Morgan in a sense. Although I can't say I know exactly how Morgan captains, but Moeen Ali seems a bit more measured and kind of just takes you under your wing and kind of takes you one side. I mean, what's it been like? I guess what's he been like as a captain? And you said he's been quite good. And why is he good in what he does?
I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. Like you said, he's switched on. He's a switched on guy, switched on cricketer. So he knows he does his preparation beforehand. Him and Dan Vettori, the coach, who's been awesome as well. What's been so good about him and Dan is their clarity and their communication with each player and exactly what role each player is playing. No one in the team does. Every person in our team knows exactly what they're there to do, and then the setup and training is all ready for them to prepare for that. And he will talk to you. He will ask questions. He will see what you think as well. He's very relaxed at that same time. And what he also does is he backs the batters. He backs the bowlers. It's such a cliche to say that, but he's not afraid of, and he shows it himself when he bats. He's not afraid of taking the bowler on, and not afraid of failure. And he gives that message to us, especially after the Manchester game. He said, "Look, it wasn't a great wicket. Obviously, we put it in the memory bank for if we ever play a wicket like that and see what we can do." But at the same time, he says, almost like ignore it, because he just wants us to go and back ourselves and play our shots and play with that freedom. Because if we do that, and if we do that sort of process right, then more often than not we'll come off and we'll beat teams. Everyone does that sort of role. So instead of going into our shell, we go out there and go for it. And I think he shows that by example, but also he communicates that well as well. I've lost you again. Can't hear you.
I was just going to say you guys seem very fearless as a team because, and I think that probably shows in the players that are in the side, right? Liam Livingston and Finn Allen and Will Smeed, etc. as well. And also, I wanted to ask you about Benjamin, right? So Chris Benjamin, who has come in a rookie contract. What a story! I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, no one would have heard of him before the 100, really, because he just signed. I think it was he just signed a rookie contract, didn't he? About a week before. So he's played maybe one first class game, and then he's come straight into the 100 as a kind of wild card pick, and he's performed really well. I mean, from South Africa as well. So, I mean, that's a great story.
Oh yeah, I hadn't heard of him actually before meeting him here, part of the team, when unfortunately for Adam Hose that he got injured for the comp. But he's obviously he looks a quality player, and I think everyone can see that. What's more impressive is his ability to just back himself and actually do it in the game when it counts, especially when the pressure's on. So I think he's very exciting for the future, and hopefully he can carry on doing well for us.
Yeah. Do you think the 100 is giving more exposure as well to some of the guys, not just abroad, but in the county championship now in the counties, who are younger and also exciting players coming through. I guess exposing them more to the masses and giving them a little bit more of kind of airtime so that they'll have more opportunities like you've had with either franchises or with, also with country as well. Do you think it will help in that sense?
Naturally, well, any games that played on TV always helps. So having every game televised, especially 1 or 2 on BBC as well, always helps. I mean, the whole year this year for Gloucestershire, we had 1 TV game. So, having already 5, we played 5 games all on TV. So, naturally, you're going to get an audience, a wider audience watching, and this competition seems like it's kicking off a little bit in a good way. So, yeah, the more you can perform in this sort of level and in the sort of pressure and the crowds and the people watching, then obviously, a good chance for you to get picked up elsewhere if you do well.
Yeah, agreed. And I'm going to ask you a question. You don't have to answer this because I don't think it's controversial, but it could be. How do you feel about the 100 being kind of in the middle of the county championship season, like with the Royal London One Day Cup being on? Even sorry, because obviously some people are saying that obviously, like for example, Gloucestershire have missed you because being a bigger mission from their side. I guess it does give the youngsters more. It gives them more exposure as well and a lot more experience. But I guess in terms of a competition, I mean, what do you think? I guess some people will just be going to T20 Blast and then they'll miss that Royal London One Day Cup and they'll go kind of back to the 100 and they're back to Red Bull stuff. Like, do you have any thoughts on it, or is it just?
Not really.
It is what it is.
I don't really have an opinion on it just yet. I haven't looked too much into it, to be honest. Obviously, you'd like to play for your county in as many formats. Well, I would like to play for my county as many formats as I can, but I guess they've got to decide, if the 100 comes in, there's a scheduling issue. You're going to have to miss something. So I don't know what the right answer is, and maybe they're still trialing it in terms of when it's being played. I'm not sure, or maybe they have an agenda with, moving on from 50 over cricket. I have no idea. But all I know is the 100 is definitely a very key part. Is key for cricket, and it's key for counties as well. I think in a way it increases, like you said, it increases the audience, gets new people watching, and then it may bring up people to certain county cricket games, in the Blast, and more people might start watching that as well. I mean, time will tell, but whether you put it in, miss a few T20 Blast games and have the 100, I don't know. I'm not sure, but I think 100 is a great comp.
I'm going to ask you a really important question, which is, how hard does Liam Livingston actually hit the ball?
Yeah, he's got a good bat swing, eh? He hits it the same as he does in golf. He goes and whacks it as well. So he's a pretty impressive talent. He goes out and just backs himself, which is refreshing to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely an exciting player, and obviously applying his trade as well, really well in the 100, and also with England recently. I mean, you also haven't been too bad with the bat as well. Have you enjoyed it batting wise?
Oh well, I did all right in the first game. Second game, happens, got naught on a shit wicket. Excuse my language.
Okay.
Last game I blinked it a little bit, but lucky Chris Benjamin was playing awesome at the other end, so didn't have to do too much.
Yeah, and your slower balls, I remember we discussed it before in the previous interview that we talked about your variation of slower balls. They must be coming in real handy now, especially a lot of people as well who wouldn't have seen it, especially if they're coming abroad as well. And have you noticed, I saw you get a wicket, for example, the other day with a slow outswinger almost, which is really interesting, and all these other little tricks that you've got up your sleeve. And it's funny, we were watching actually as a family, and I was like, I've interviewed him, and they're like, oh really? I was like, yeah, I have. I was like, yeah, he's a really nice guy. So they are watching, and he's really good, isn't he? So I think it's also, this is bringing the best out of your game, no?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as long as I keep performing and back myself, then no, I which I do. So just hopefully the performance keeps coming, and who knows what will happen after.
Yeah. What's your guys' goal then, I guess, for the rest of the tournament? Now you're joint top. I mean, surely it's to try and get through and win, right?
Every game we can, really.
Yeah.
I think it's too hard to have a goal when it's a new group of players playing together. You just, I think you just got to go back to basics and role clarity. I think everyone does their role well in each game, and that everyone backs themselves to do that role to the best of their ability. And if we all do that as a team, then we should be we should be winning games. So, which in the minute, the last couple of games we've won, but we just got to do the same thing every game we play, and then great if we get to finals, fantastic.
And you mentioned like Dan Vettori before, and he said that he's very good in terms of like clarity on the message of the team on how he wants you guys to play. What's he brought about? Maybe that you could give like people as viewers a little bit of insight into what he's like as a coach and a person as well. Like, what does he bring to the table?
He's a switched-on guy. He does a lot of watching of cricket, a lot of research, a lot of thinking. He's got analyst Dan Weston there, who's I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a wizard when it comes to like knowing stats and people's matchups and everything like that. So they communicate well. So he's good like that, but at the same time, he's not intense. He's very relaxed. He understands everyone's been most of the guys that have been there, at a top level for a long time now. They know what they need to do. So he just makes sure he has everything prepared with all his coaches around him to be able to give what each player needs at training in the warm up before the game, and he'll just do whatever you need to do, and he'll set up the training in a way that everyone gets what they want to get out of, which is great. It's very refreshing because you don't get that too much at county cricket.
He doesn't turn his arm over a couple of times. I was in the nets with you guys.
He does. He chucks it though. He's a very good chucker of left arm spin. He's one of the best chuckers I've faced. Can't be bothered turning his arm over anymore, but he's still got that canny ability to slow it up and mix his pace.
There'll be a lot of people watching who just play local club cricket going, I face loads of truckers on a Saturday. That's what they'll be saying. But yeah.
We've got Ian Bell as well there, who's the batting sort of consultant. He's been there. He's loving it. He's driving and being a coach as well. So there's guys there that are really helping.
Yeah, what's Ian Bell like then? What's the difference between him and maybe Dan Vettori then? What does Ian Bell bring to the table? I've seen him do quite a few interviews, and he's pretty he seems quite laid back and very like open, and
he's laid back, but he loves it. He loves talking about the game. He talks about like tactics and how to play spin and what's your strength and what's good options against different spinners a lot of the time. And he'll sling and throw to you and talk to you about whatever you want really. So he's been fantastic.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask you actually as well is in the other franchises and also T20 Blast, etc. Have you seen a difference in this 100 with? I remember last time we discussed how cricket might be slightly behind the other sports in terms of innovation and tactics. I remember you mentioned baseball, for example, like they have all these matchups and it's all kind of analytics beforehand as well to kind of aid you whilst you're on the pitch. And England have been doing it a lot, obviously with Morgan, and they've got an analyst in place. Has there been more of that in the 100? Have you noticed?
A lot more, yeah. A lot more. I think more franchise cricket, the higher the profile of the competition, there's a lot more involved, a lot more money put into it. So there's a lot more resources to be able to get the guys to help with that. And you need the good analysts to help with that as well. And there's a lot of stuff put into it, to be honest. I mean, they know the strengths of their team and the individual sort of strengths of each person, and then how they match that up into a team balance, how they match it up when they go against other teams. It's definitely well thought about. So I think it's improving tournament by tournament. In my opinion, it's only going to get more and more because it is very important. I mean, one ball can change a game. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like you must be loving the kind of innovation, because I remember before you were having, Matt, you were saying like, we need to move forward, and obviously it now is happening. So, and that's good to see, because I think we don't want cricket to get left behind. So it's good to see it happening. I wanted to ask you as well. I don't think it's a tactical. I don't think it's really giving away any tactics. But I was going to ask you, so far, who's been the hardest bowler and batsman that you've had to face
in the tournament?
Yeah.
I haven't really batted too much. I mean, I've come in towards the end. I mean, I faced Rashid Khan in the practice game before against Trent Rockets. We had a practice game, and it was a spinning wicket, and he was just almost impossible to face. So I'd always say him.
Yeah. Is it the quick arm action? Is it just he's so whippy from the shoulder?
We know he's quick, but it's the fact that he can turn it both ways. He's so quick that in his scramble seam, you don't know which way it's going. So any wicket that's offering a bit of turn,
Yeah, you're guessing sometimes.
Okay. What about to bowl to you though? You bowl quite a lot, so who's been the hardest
to Rashid Khan yet? He'll be interesting to bowl to. Yeah.
Okay. What about in terms of the batsmen that you faced so far? In terms of a bowler, who's been the hardest batsman to bowl to?
James Vince.
Yeah.
James Vince is so hard to bowl to. I've always found him hard.
Yeah.
He's a top class player. And there's a lot of class players, to be honest, but I think I'd say James Vince has been the hardest.
Oh, that's well, it's a very high accolade considering the people you're bowling against. I mean, he seems like someone who's got all the shots in the game, doesn't he, James Vince? So
yeah, he's
very
class.
talented.
I mean, there's certain high class players that I still don't mind bowling to, just because I feel like my sort of bowling suits it playing against them. But James Vince is one that's I find quite tough.
Nice. Well,
cool.
Thank you very much, Benny, and thanks for taking some time out of your day as well. All the best for the rest of the tournament as well. It's been great speaking to you. Hopefully, I actually am cheering on Birmingham Phoenix because Moeen Ali's captain. I've interviewed you. I've interviewed Deebs as well, Daniel Bell-Drummond before. Yes. So I thought, you know what, I got to get on board. And it was a choice. I didn't have to tie myself down to a county like I have with Surrey, so where I live. So I said,
top now, don't you?
yeah. I should have really bought one and wore it for the interview. But no, I do appreciate it as always, mate. All the best as well to you and the family. And yeah, hopefully we see you getting bucket loads more of wickets and hopefully some big sixes as well. I'm sure they're over the horizon.
I appreciate it.
Thanks. No worries. All the best, mate. Thanks.
Look after yourself. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.